Hello, and welcome to Sleep and Rest Talks. Whether you are ending a long day or simply looking for a moment of calm, I'm glad you are here. Tonight, we're going to talk about something we all experience, but don't always admit: the feeling that we have to be strong all the time. So get comfortable and let's begin. You know, I think there is something a little strange about the way we talk about being strong. We usually talk about strength as if it means being able to handle everything. You keep going. You don't complain. You don't fall apart. You figure things out. And even when something hurts, you somehow manage to carry on. And yes, there is something admirable about that. But sometimes, I wonder if we've taken it too far. Because what happens when being strong becomes something you feel you have to prove every single day? What happens when you're tired, but you still tell yourself you should be able to handle it? When something is bothering you, but you think, it's not that serious. Other people have it worse. When someone asks how you're doing, and you automatically say, I'm fine, before you've even thought about whether you actually are. I think many of us do this without even noticing. We become very good at functioning. We go to work, we answer messages, we make appointments, we buy groceries, we take care of people, we deal with problems, we make plans, we keep our promises. And from the outside, everything looks completely normal. But being able to function doesn't always mean you're okay. Sometimes you're simply very good at continuing, and nobody really notices the difference. Maybe you've had moments like that. You're having a completely normal conversation with someone. You're smiling. You're doing what you always do. And inside, you're thinking, I really don't know how much longer I can keep doing and everything like this. And then, because nothing dramatic has happened, you tell yourself you're being ridiculous. You think you should be grateful. You think you should be stronger. You think you'll feel better after the weekend, or after the vacation, or after this project, or after this difficult period is over. And somehow, there is always another difficult period waiting, another responsibility, another problem, another thing that needs your attention. So you keep postponing the moment when you're allowed to admit that you're tired. I think that's one of the hardest things about being the strong one. People start depending on you. And eventually, you start depending on yourself to never need anything. You become the person who helps, the person who listens, the person who knows what to do, the person who stays calm when everyone else is stressed. And maybe people even tell you, you're so strong. And they mean it as a compliment. But sometimes, when you've heard it enough times, it can almost feel like a responsibility, as if you aren't allowed to have a bad day anymore, as if everyone has already decided who you are. You're the strong one. You'll be okay. You'll figure it out. You'll manage. And maybe that's exactly what you've been doing, managing, for a very long time. But I want to tell you something that I think we forget far too easily. You are not a machine. You're not supposed to function at the same level every day. You are a human being. And being human means that some days you have more to give than others. Some days you're patient. Some days you're not. Some days you feel confident. Other days you question everything. Some days you can handle a difficult conversation without thinking twice. Other days, one small thing can completely overwhelm you. That doesn't mean you've become weak. It means you're having a human day. And I think we need to become a little more comfortable with that. Because there is this strange pressure to turn ourselves into people who are always okay, always improving, always learning, always becoming better. Even our difficult experiences are supposed to make us stronger. Our failures are supposed to teach us something. Our heartbreak is supposed to make us wiser. Our struggles are supposed to become stories about how much we've grown. And sometimes, something is just difficult. Sometimes you're sad because something hurt you. Sometimes you're exhausted because you've had too much on your plate. Sometimes you miss someone. Sometimes you're disappointed. Sometimes you simply don't feel like yourself. And you don't have to immediately turn that feeling into a lesson. You can just recognize it for what it is. This is hard for me right now. That's a completely valid sentence. You don't need a more impressive explanation. And maybe this is something we should give ourselves more often. Permission to have ordinary human reactions, to be disappointed without calling ourselves negative, to be tired without calling ourselves lazy, to need help without calling ourselves incapable, to cry without feeling embarrassed, to say no without feeling guilty, to admit that something hurt us, to admit that we don't know, to admit that we need a little time. None of those things erase your strength. In fact, I think sometimes they are part of it, because there is a big difference between being strong and pretending to be strong. Pretending means you're hiding what is happening. Strength can mean being honest about it. There is something very powerful about saying, "I'm struggling with this," or "I don't have the energy for that today," or even, "I need someone." Those sentences can feel surprisingly difficult to say, especially if you're used to being the person everyone else comes to. But needing someone doesn't make you less capable. It makes you human. Think about the people you love. If someone you cared about came to you after a difficult day and said, "I don't know if I can handle everything anymore," would you look at them and think they were weak? Probably not. You'd probably sit with them. You'd listen. You'd tell them that they don't have to solve everything tonight. You'd probably be much kinder to them than you are to yourself. And that's the part that gets me sometimes. How easily we can offer compassion to other people, and how difficult it can be to offer the same compassion to ourselves. We understand that other people need breaks. We understand that other people get overwhelmed. We understand that everyone has limits. But somehow, when it comes to ourselves, we make an exception. We say, I should be able to handle this. I've handled worse. I just need to get through this week. I don't have time to feel like this. And maybe you've said some version of those things to yourself more times than you can count. But what if you didn't have to earn the right to have a difficult day? What if being tired wasn't something you needed to justify? What if you could simply say, I'm having a hard time, without immediately following it with, but I'll be fine? Because you don't always have to be fine. Not immediately. Not perfectly. And certainly not for everyone. There are also moments when being strong means knowing when to stop. Not giving up. Not walking away from everything. Just recognizing that you have reached your limit. Maybe you've been trying to solve a problem for hours and you're getting nowhere. Maybe you've been having the same conversation in your head for weeks. Maybe you're trying to make a relationship work while quietly realizing that you're exhausted. Maybe you're trying to keep everyone happy and you've forgotten what you actually want. Maybe you're simply tired of being responsible for everything. Sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is acknowledge that you can't carry everything at once. You can still care. You can still try. You can still be ambitious. You can still be dependable. But you don't have to carry the entire world on your shoulders just because you're capable of carrying a lot. That's an important difference. Being capable doesn't mean you're obligated. Being strong doesn't mean you have to say yes. Being independent doesn't mean you can never lean on someone. And being the person people trust doesn't mean you have to hide when you need support. I think growing older teaches us some of these things in ways we don't expect. When you're younger, you might think strength means being able to do everything yourself. But eventually, you start to understand that life isn't really about doing everything alone. Sometimes it's about knowing who you can call, who you can sit with, who you can be completely honest with, who you don't have to impress, who you don't have to explain yourself to. Those people are precious. And if you have someone like that in your life, I hope you don't take it for granted. And if you don't have someone like that right now, I hope you remember that this doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Sometimes life can be lonely. Sometimes we go through periods where we feel like we're carrying everything by ourselves. And those periods can make us forget that we deserve support too. Maybe that's one reason nights can feel so different. During the day, there are things happening constantly. People are around. There are notifications. There are conversations. There is work. There are things to do. You can keep moving. And then night comes. Everything gets quieter. And sometimes that's when you finally hear yourself. That's when the things you've been pushing aside during the day come back. Not necessarily because something is wrong with you, but because you finally have enough silence to notice what you've been feeling. And maybe tonight, what you're noticing is simply this. You're tired, not broken, not weak, just tired. And there is a difference. You don't have to turn tiredness into a character flaw. You don't have to feel ashamed because you don't have the same energy you had yesterday. You don't have to compare your hardest day with someone else's best day. And you don't have to keep proving that you can handle everything. You've already handled a lot, probably much more than other people even realize. There are things you've survived that you rarely talk about, things you carried quietly, things that changed you, things that hurt more than you let people see. And you're still here. Maybe you don't need to become stronger tonight. Maybe you just need to remember that you are allowed to be human. There will be days when you feel capable of anything. And there will be days when getting through the day is enough. Both kinds of days belong to your life. Neither one makes you more or less worthy. You are still you on the productive days. You're still you on the messy days. You're still you when you're confident. You're still you when you're uncertain. You're still you when you're helping everyone else. And you're still you when you need someone to help you. Nothing about that needs to be earned. So if you've been expecting yourself to be strong all the time, maybe you can stop asking that of yourself. Not because you should give up, not because you should stop caring, but because you deserve to have somewhere in your life where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to be impressive, where you don't have to have the right answer, where you can simply be honest. I had a difficult day. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired. I need someone. Those are not failures. Those are human sentences. And maybe that's all we really need sometimes. To remember that underneath the work, the responsibilities, the expectations, the plans, the things we're trying to achieve, there is a person who gets tired, a person who gets hurt, a person who sometimes needs reassurance, a person who wants to be understood, a person who doesn't always know what to do next. And that person deserves kindness too. So tonight, if today was difficult, don't make it harder by judging yourself for finding it difficult. If you didn't get everything done, tomorrow is another day. If you weren't your best self today, you don't need to punish yourself for it. If you felt emotional, that doesn't make you weak. If you needed a little more from someone, that doesn't make you needy. And if you simply had a day where you didn't feel like yourself. That's okay too. You are allowed to have ordinary human days. You are allowed to have complicated feelings. You are allowed to be strong sometimes and not so strong at other times. You don't have to choose one version of yourself and stay there forever. Because you're human. And being human was never supposed to look perfect. Maybe that's something worth remembering tonight. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to be the person who always knows what to say. You don't have to be the person who always knows what to do. And you certainly don't have to carry everything just because you've carried it before. Sometimes, enough is enough. Sometimes, you've done enough. Sometimes, you've given enough. And sometimes, the most honest thing you can say at the end of a long day is simply, "I'm tired." And that's okay. Tomorrow, life will still be there. There will still be things to handle. There will still be decisions to make. There will still be people who need you. But tonight, you don't have to be everything for everyone. You can simply be yourself, the person behind all the responsibilities, the person behind all the expectations, the person who doesn't always have it together, the person who is still learning, still feeling, still becoming, still human. And maybe that's more than enough. Thank you for spending these quiet moments here. Whatever kind of day you've had, I hope you remember that you don't have to carry everything alone. You can let some things wait. You can give yourself a little more kindness than usual. And you can remember that being human means you don't have to be strong every moment of every day. For now, let the day be behind you. Let tomorrow come when it comes, and allow yourself to rest. Have a peaceful time.